Get those. Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary V, the casual comic guy here, and I am here with my buddy, Slotitup503.
What's up, everybody?
All right, and next to him, we got good old Kenny Caps.
Station.
Below him, we got Nick's Kicks and Comics.
Hello there.
And then the guest of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend, the musician, the artist, Fable, the fabulous one.
Station. What's going on, everybody?
What's up?
So, Fable, first of all, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it. And we'll say a little hi to the chat because Fable's already got his crew here. So we got Dave's Collect, Anachronic Comics. Hello, Evil's Comics. How you doing, Mike? Joe, how are you? Chop and Drop, as always, here to support. We got TM Nerdy, Station Travis. All right, Station Manny, Station Sith Lordly. And we got a full chat going. So before we get too far, Fable, give yourself a quick introduction for anyone who may not know you, and we'll get rolling.
My name is Fable. Just like a lot of y'all, I'm just a comic book collector, pop culture connoisseur. I love all of it: video games, comic books, toys, all the stuff we love growing up. I love that stuff to death, man. That's just something I'm about. And I'm part of a little crew. You may have heard of them. They're called the PCP Army Bad Batch. Just a bunch of dudes that got together, like to make YouTube content and Instagram content. And that's been my life for the past year.
So I wanted to ask you about that too, because you do a lot more on Instagram than you do on YouTube. What makes that your platform of choice?
Well, I kind of started on Instagram. Like, that's how I met everybody, to be honest with you. When the pandemic started and I started collecting comic books, I had absolutely nobody to talk to, right? Like, nobody in my circle, nobody I knew collected comic books, toys, watched cartoons, none of that stuff. And it was like that for years, and you kind of get used to it. You keep it to yourself, But with all this time on our hands from the pandemic, I was like, I got to do something with my time. So I just started a little Instagram page. I just wanted to show off my thing, see if anybody would talk to me about it, maybe make some friends, some like-minded friends. And man, it went way better than I thought it would.
Right. Well, I think that's been everybody's story here too, man. The pandemic hit and we all needed to fill something up, and, us four here turned to YouTube and Jimmy, and next thing you know, you have this group of friends, and of course from them it extended out to tomorrow. Right. Manny's gonna find you at some point if you're out there, and then Manny's so magnetic he just draws you in anyway.
Yeah, but he's like a truffle pig.
Right. You meet Manny, you meet Sarah, you meet all these guys that bring everybody up, and the next thing you know, it's just. You're in this great group, and we're always talking like there's just no better group on YouTube or Instagram than this collectors community. We're all in.
Man. There's nothing like it, Gary. There's nothing like it, man. I used to be really big into video games, into that community.
What?
And
really?
I couldn't tell that about you.
And those guys fight a lot, man. They fight over every little thing, man. It's like Xbox versus PlayStation, Sega versus versus Nintendo, Mario versus. It is exhausting with those guys. So, absolutely, the best community is this comic book collecting, figures, all the pop culture stuff. Yeah, I have to agree, 100%.
For the record, I'm a PlayStation guy, but I don't have hate for any other systems. The only reason because I think all the systems are great and they all offer something. And the sole reason I'm PlayStation is I love the companies that make their exclusives. Like if Naughty Dog puts out a game, I got to play a Naughty Dog game. If Guerrilla Games puts out a game, I got to play it. Sony Ben. So I like their games. So that's my platform of choice. But we have a PlayStation 4, an Xbox One, a Switch, a Game Boy, Nintendo Classic, Sega Classic, PlayStation Classic. We got
And a van that says free candy.
And a van that says free candy.
Oh man.
Yeah, we have no video game hate here. It's all good gravy.
But you left out the best platform, the
What's
PC.
that?
The PC.
Oh man, you PC guys are the worst, man. Forget it. Guys, anybody
I'm a
who
PC
says,
guy.
Nintendo,
But I play with the controller. I'm not a real PC guy.
But yeah, man. Instagram, I chose that platform because already I had an already built-in following, so I figured I'd maximize that following. I also felt like YouTube has an abundance of content, right? Like abundance of pop culture content. I didn't think I would add anything to it. You know what I mean? Personally, I didn't think I would add anything to it.
Well,
Plus,
you're wrong, sir. You are wrong, sir.
Right. Everybody's got a voice, Fable.
No, it's true. It's true. And I hear that all the time, but, I'd rather cut my chops on Instagram real quick before I decide to make that leap. And, I'm not ruling out YouTube. I'm thinking about it.
I know you got to get more than 5 videos up on your station, buddy.
I know. That was just supposed to be a music thing.
The music is good. The music is good over there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry for all those motorcycles that just went by, guys.
Between the motorcycles and the crickets, are the crickets driving the motorcycles?
You never know around here, man. It's a hard neighborhood. Crickets are falling on hard times. You got a cricket gang war going on.
I bet it was god awful when the cicadas were there.
Right. So Fable, now music's big with you, man. Now did you go to school for music, or you just self-taught, or?
Yeah. When I was a kid, have you ever seen the movie Juice?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tupac.
Yeah, you remember Radio Raheem?
Yep.
Yeah, they used to call me Radio Raheem in my neighborhood because I was just into hip hop, and I always had a radio, and I had in the Bronx, hip hop is a big thing, right? Like it's a super culture over here. Like so, mixtapes are super prevalent over here. A lot of the rappers that you heard nationally, if they're from New York, they usually had some underground stuff going on here that we all heard. You know what I mean? So I used to collect those tapes. And then one day, a friend of mine came to me when I was like early 20s, and he was like, "Man, I got this program for a computer that you can make beats on." And I was like, "Yeah, just give it to me." And it was from there. I just pressed buttons until I got a decent thing going.
Right.
And
Nice.
KRS-One is a legend out here.
Yep.
All right. So are you in the soundtracks though? Because you're also a big movie guy.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love soundtracks. I love all audio. I'm an audiophile, definitely into soundtracks. And I like, not just hip hop. I like rock and roll. I like some metal. I like pop. I love pop music. But yeah.
Who's your favorite hip hop artist or group?
Hip hop artist, I would say Jay-Z. Group, I would say Wu-Tang Clan.
Nice. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think they have a special out now, don't they? Didn't they just put out a series or
On-
a movie about them?
On HBO Max or something. Yeah.
They've got one on Showtime that's excellent, and one on Hulu that's not so good.
Oh, it's Hulu. Yeah. The new one is on Hulu.
What about the Beastie Boys? You listen to them?
Oh yeah, definitely. When that Intergalactic came out, I was all about that.
Paul's Boutique was my jam.
Yeah, same here. I love Paul's Boutique. Hey, ladies!
Right. Shake your rumpa.
Shake your rump.
Shake your rumpa.
I still listen to the Beastie Boys weekly. But and their albums, they would have like 16 songs on an album, just have like little shortcuts and everything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's like a biker rally over here tonight.
It's all good, Gary.
Now,
Everything quiets down when the crickets kick in, though.
oh, I know. Right? So, what's your favorite? I know you like movies, and we all know you love Back to the Future. Besides Back to the Future, man, what's your favorite movie soundtrack? Something you can just put on and jam out to that even may have influenced some of the music you've made.
Transformers the movie, 1986 soundtrack. My God.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
That soundtrack is what you
That
got.
starts out banging.
That whole thing is awesome, dude. Vince Dicola, he made the soundtrack to Rocky IV, which is also a great soundtrack. I love that soundtrack. Yeah, definitely.
Transformers.
And I was hoping you were going to say Basil Palladorus, but oh goodness. So let us know a little bit how you hooked up with Manny and the crew over there. Because Manny reached out to me on Instagram one day. He's like, "Hey, would you like to be on the show?" And I have to get back on there, but work has been so crazy for me. I haven't been able to do anything but this mostly. And but how'd you and Manny get together?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm glad you asked me this because I never really got to tell any of this story, but and a lot of people don't even really know, right? Like, but basically, you guys all know Robbie, right? Pop culture philosophers. Yep. All right. So when I first got into trying to be on in YouTube chats, trying to make some friends through that, get in the chats, that was one of the first chats I broke into, right? And as it could be very intimidating because sometimes when you're looking at the chat going, it seems like there's a camaraderie there, there's a friendship already going on, a community. So it's like, what do I say to break the ice? How do I get in here? You know what I mean? So I was lucky enough to have that done for me because I said hi. Like all I did was write hi, and Big Herm. You guys know Big Herm Collectibles?
Yeah, that's my dude right there.
Big Herm was like, yeah, man, love that guy. That's my brother. He was like, hey, Fable. And I was like, oh, I'm in. So every chat, because Robbie does a weekly show, every week I would come in and I would see Herm and I'd be like, Herm, what's going on? He'd be like, Fable, what's going on? And we would do that back and forth for a few weeks, right? And then I was just like, Herm did it for me, I'm gonna do it for everybody, right? So I'm like, hi to everybody, hi. I just made sure it was hi because I feel like that could change your life. Just saying hi to somebody could change their life. And
and that might be the only positive interaction they get that day.
Yes. And obviously, with me, I'm the perfect example. If Herm never said hi, I would not be here with you guys tonight. That's how powerful that is.
So, are you pretty? You were pretty introverted before all this?
No, I wasn't. I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, but I'm not a big extrovert either. I'm somewhere in the middle. I choose my battles,
A great extrovert.
Also, I guess where you're from, you grew up in the Bronx?
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of leads to it too. Is you always kind of like you always want to be sure it's safe.
Right.
Growing up in New York to say hello to anybody before you start getting into.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of like that also too with the first time, and for me it was Remy who reached out to me, and the first time I was on a stream, I think I broke in with the Sunday night crew with these two guys, not Caps, but Gary, and I was apprehensive also. So that's why too I like to end a lot of the videos engaging, trying to encourage the people to come on. Yeah. Just come. We want to see your face. We want to hang out with you. You'll enjoy yourself. Right. I guarantee you. And that's part of it too.
Well, have you ever met Herm in person? Because I know New York is gigantic, but it's also small. Yeah. But have y'all ever met in person?
No. The pandemic was going on at the time, and nobody was trying to meet up with anybody. But we plan on it. It's coming. We actually trying to do some content around and see if we could go visit Midtown Comics, give everybody a view of Midtown Comics, because I know a lot of people.
Oh, that would be fun
to see how that looks. Yeah. So we're planning it.
And you better believe it. When I'm back in the 718, I'm making some phone calls.
So you said like you met Herm on one of Robbie's live chats. So I'm assuming that from there, that's how you met Manny, is in the live chats as well.
Well, no. See, after I met Herm, I started interacting with a lot of guys in those chats. So like Missing Link, I know you guys know Missing Link, John Thomas, Bobby Delaghetto, Tacky 616, I believe that's the number he uses. Just a couple of people. So I said, you know what? These chats are so much fun. I don't want it to end and wait till next week to talk to these guys again. So I found them all on Instagram and I started a chat there with all of them in it. And that's just like the original Bad Batch right there. You know what I mean? TM Nerdy, we added TM Nerdy, all this other stuff. So one night we're all in Robbie's chat and Robbie invites Manny on the chat. And he's like, oh, this is my buddy Manny. I've known him for so long. You know, I just want to get him out there. So we watched that show and we were all watching it. We're like, man, this Manny guy, he seems cool as hell, man. He seems really like a cool dude. So he had his own live one day and we went to his chat. We all attacked his chat. You know how we do. We swarm a chat. So
Right.
we swarmed his chat. And he was like, yo, Herm, why don't you come on my show one day? So then Herm was like, Herm never went live before. So Herm was like really nervous and he was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know what I mean? So he went on Manny's show and we were all there supporting. So after that night, I told the fellas, I said, what if I add Manny to the chat? What if I add, Manny, would you guys be cool with that? And he was like, yeah, hell yeah. Everybody this guy's so cool. So we added him. And man, the rest is history, bro. The rest is history.
Manny's got great production skills too, man. His videos always look killer.
Between him and Chip, they're the best lighting on Instagram.
Yeah, him and Chip need to do something together with how good. Yeah. Well, no, there needs to be three of them: him, Chip, and DJ.
But if you did that, it would be like a J.J. Abrams movie. It'd be like solar glares, you couldn't see shit.
So tell me how Blame Fable started, that show. And how'd that name Blame Fable come up? It sounds like it was an in-joke at first, which became the title of the show.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
So what were you getting blamed for, Fable?
Because I have these like ridiculous hauls. Even it's ridiculous for me. I look at them and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I spending all this money? I would buy these books, just all these variants, and people would be like, oh man, I never saw that one before. Blame Fable. Blame Fable. And then Justin, I think Justin No Good Comics, one day he was on his live and I was in the chat or whatever, and he was like, oh, Fable, yeah, I picked this up because of you, man. I'm blaming you. It's your fault. And people are on the chat like, blame Fable, blame Fable, blame Fable. So it became like a joke, like you said. People were just tagging me on Instagram with books that they saw on my page and were like, oh, got this because of Fable, blame him. So I was like, you know what? Title of the show. There it is. And the show came out because these guys kept pushing me. If you talk to these guys and you ask them, was this something I wanted to do? They would tell you, hell no. They had to drag me kicking and screaming to get on the camera, right? So they're like, you got to do something, man. You have all this knowledge. You have all this variance, blah, blah, blah. You need to do something. So I was like, okay, I'll do it on Instagram. Like I said, I didn't want to add anything to YouTube. It was already, I felt like all the great stuff was already there. So just do a little YouTube thing. And Instagram thing, and crazy after that.
Hey, so that's actually true because everybody knows I come home with Wednesday, and I looked at your Instagram post today. I was like, damn, that boy got a lot of books today.
So you're a relatively new collector, though, right? You said you got into collecting through COVID. Were you ever at any other period of your life into comics?
Yeah. I got into comics around 1987, 88, through a hand-me-down comic book, right? Like my aunt, she collected X-Men's, but they didn't collect them like put them in poly bags or anything. They were like on the coffee table with TV Guide and the People magazine, you know what I mean? So it was like I'm at my grandmother's house. I'm super bored. When you're at your grandmother's house, sometimes it's just boring. I see a comic book on the table, and it's Wolverine, right? It's X-Men 212. You guys remember X-Men 212?
Oh,
So
yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying I never saw Wolverine looked all cut up and bloody like that. Like it was just like, what is this, right? And she had both issues, 212 and 213. So that was the one where he fights Sabretooth for the first time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that battle was so cool. It was nothing like the cartoons I've ever watched. You know what I mean? It was bloody, it was savage, and I was like, holy crap, I got to get into this, right? But
like guys with claws and metal claws would do.
Exactly. So, but I'm 8 years old. I have no money, and I didn't even know comic books existed until that point. So I had no idea where a store was.
Wow.
I mean? Yeah. So a few years passed by. I was just picking up my aunt's hand-me-downs. And then I moved to this neighborhood where there was this comic book store. And Nick, I don't know, you might remember this store. It's called Wow Comics. It was in Pelham Parkway back in the days. No?
A little out of my location there.
And this was the early 90s now, right? We're skipping a couple of years. Now I'm getting an allowance, like $5 a week or something like that. So, I go straight to Wow Comics, and comics were like 75 cents. So I could get like 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and that lasted all the way to about 93, which was like the greatest period of comics, right? Like 88 to like 92, 93 was just like amazing. McFarlane Spider-Man, Jim Lee X-Men, and that cartoon came out right at that time too. So, and then Image Comics, it was just like the best time to collect at that point. But comics started going up really fast. Like they went from $1 to $2.50 in like 3 years.
Yep.
So that was the end of that. I retired that and left it alone. And it wasn't until the pandemic hit. No, sorry, wrong. I was still working. The pandemic had not hit. I was on a bus coming home, and I was reading my phone, and I came across an article that said Rick Grimes is gonna die in the next Walking Dead comic book. So I was like, I started specking right there, right? I was like, holy crap, I should get my hands on this thing, right? This thing's got to be worth some money. Rick Grimes is dying, right? So I went all crazy calling comic book stores. I had no idea what FOC was, right? So everybody laughed at me because this was like a week before this thing was supposed to drop. So everybody's like, what? We don't have that. But I did find it. And I did buy it. And the place I bought it from became my pull box to this day, right? Mm-hmm. So I bought the comic book and with the total intentions to sell this thing, like total intentions. And when I got it in my hand and I opened it up, I said, let me look at these things. I haven't looked at these things since I was a teenager, right? Let me open it. Opened it, and oh my God, it's like every freaking feeling, all the love, all the things that I remember about comic books just kept flooding. And I'm like, why did I ever stop buying these things?
My precious.
You know what I mean?
Such an easy hole to fall back into.
Yeah, man.
Nostalgia in general from our childhood is so easy to fall back into. You see a TV show that you watch, as a kid, and I find myself watching, finding them on, whatever streaming service, and then watching them all over again. It's the nostalgia, really.
So, first of all, you were specking, bro, back then?
Yeah, I was specking. I came in specking. That's why when people like talk down on speculators, I kind of have to remind them that sometimes that's the way in.
Yeah, it's okay to be a dirty flipper,
right?
Yeah.
So how's that book doing now? How's the death of Rick Grimes doing now?
Not good at all. I can't sell
that.
Should have got his first appearance.
Yeah. But after that, I don't know if you guys remember, Walking Dead ended suddenly, right? Like it ended suddenly. And they even like solicited issues that never came out, right? So I put Walking Dead on my pull as my first comic book because I had seen the TV show. I liked the TV show. I knew it came from a comic. So I was like, I'm going to get into this comic book. And then 2 issues later, it was over. And I was like, what do I do now? Like, what the hell do I collect now? Like, I don't even know what's out there. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to basics. What did I like when I was a kid? I liked Hulk. I liked Spider-Man. I liked Batman. All right, we're going to add those to the pool. Bing, bing, bing. And at that time, House of X and Powers of X had just started. And, man, I read that series, and that was the real hook. That was the real, like, oh, I'm in all the way. Like, I'm going to find out about all this stuff. So, yeah, man.
So who's your favorite writer and artist? Do you have them?
Yeah, man. I would say my favorite writer is Chris Claremont. A lot of people like to give him retro crap, and I don't know why. You know what I mean? Chris Claremont, to me, I mean, you could nitpick anybody, right? Like, you could go back in time.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's one of the people that built Marvel with his writing.
Yep.
Right. But I would say Chris Claremont because, you know, remember I told you nobody around me did any of this stuff. Nobody read comic books. Nobody played with toys. Nobody did any of that stuff. So Chris Claremont, when the era of X-Men that I got into was when Kitty kind of got into the X-Men, right? So Kitty was like a proxy character for me, right? She was learning about her abilities. She was getting around people that were like her for the first time. She was being accepted in a group of freaks, right? They're all freaks. They all feel like they're freaks. I resonated with all of that. You know what I mean? So
I always love that character because Kitty Pryde is one of the very, very few characters that's actually legitimately named after someone. Claremont was going to college with this woman. Her name was Kitty Pryde. And he's like, I love your name. Can I use that as a character?
I never knew that. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so his writing, you know, his writing resonated with me. The way he handled the X-Men resonated with me. And even though there's probably better writers, I can't dismiss the impact. The impact was so big that I got to give it up to him. And artists, I would say Todd McFarlane, but man, it's always a battle with John Byrne. Like, always a constant battle because I love John Byrne.
John Burns is shit. I love John Byrne and McFarlane. I mean, that's a toss-up.
And you can tell when we all got into comics by who our favorites are. Like for me, it's Roy Thomas and John Buscema, Barry Windsor Smith. But I read all those guys that you got too. I mean, that's what got you into the X-Men was Chris Claremont. And you're reading these stories with this grand scale, and you just love the characters. And you know, like just wrote Iceman so good. I used to love Iceman. I loved and Polaris was one of my favorites in the 90s. I loved Polaris. I thought Lorna was great. And then they just never did enough with that character after that. It's like they just let her go by the wayside. And Havoc was great, you know, Scott's brother.
Yeah.
And then when
in my opinion, that second generation of Marvel employees don't get the credit that they deserve. Like, you know, the first generation, right? That's like Kirby, that's Lee, Dick Ayers, you know, Gary Friedrich, like a bunch of those, like Steve Ditko. You know, it's the second generation ones that come in and take the reins over once they get like these publishing rights, when they can produce more work instead of everything being bi-monthly. Like we can produce something different every month. Those guys like really took what they were given and just went off with it.
Yeah, because you got to figure that's Wolverine, Iron Fist, Power Man, Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
And that's another thing why I like Roy Thomas. He took over for Lee, and he doesn't get enough credit for that.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, Roy Thomas started working at DC when he was 15 or 16.
Yeah, real young. But yeah, the thing about that book that is so well, Chris Claremont, that's so awesome is a lot of the things that people talk about now, the controversy with like, you know, putting in transsexual or gay or whatever, minorities into books. You know, there's people that have issues with the way they're doing that and stuff like that. But Chris Claremont did that already. Like,
well, that was the X-Men,
all of that.
You know,
he put all of those characters and didn't emphasize any of their any of that. He didn't, he didn't pander to anybody. He just gave you an ambiguity to it so that you kind of like thought it, but you made your own mythology to it a little bit. Like he didn't focus on it, but it was there.
Well, it was cool because this character would show up and then you're completely wowed. Like think about the first time you see Storm. And then Storm gets her mohawk, and then you're like, holy cow, Storm looks awesome with this mohawk. And then she just, she's always like this regal, reserved character. But then when she really lets go, you don't want to be in the vicinity because she'll wreck all
They'll
that.
have no fury.
Right.
Like a woman's
But
Storm.
you had that, and then Rogue, and then you had like the tragic characters like Nightcrawler, who, who just everywhere he goes, it's just horrible for him.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler was great. He was probably one of my favorite.
Nightcrawler is definitely my favorite X-Men.
Right. And he's a great character because he's one of those characters that perseveres through hate. He's like such a positive force, but everything he's faced is always hate. Always hate. Right. So I got to ask you, Fable, who's your number one character that you connected with that was just your go-to character? Like you just had to know where their journey was headed.
Oh yeah, man. It was definitely Kitty Pryde. Like I had to see her progression. Like everything she did, I felt like her. Every issue that was Kitty centric, I felt like her. There was an issue, I forgot what issue it was, but they were just like in the mansion hanging out, and Kitty was like there alone, and some junk went down, and she had to like save the day, And
it was 144, I think.
Yeah.
145? One of those.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, she had to save the day, man, and nobody was around to help her, and it just resonated. She's just an awesome character. I'm sad that I left her when I left her, but she's still around, so I'm happy for that.
Did you ever read that 3-issue miniseries, Pride and Wisdom?
No.
That's really it's a fun little series. It came out in like the early 2006 or something. Look that one up. It's only 3 issues. It's a fun 3-issue read.
Well, the only thing that got me upset with Kitty, well, not Kitty. I love Kitty. The thing that got me upset is every time they do an X-Men thing, like a movie or a cartoon, they always replace her with somebody. Like they do her story, but they replace her with somebody. Like they replaced her with Jubilee. And then they replaced her with Rogue in the movies. I was like, why not just do Kitty?
But they haven't done Rogue right yet either.
They've done her horrible.
They really haven't done anybody right, honestly.
No. The X-Men movies started off good because we were all excited that we had X-Men movies. And then, compared to like the movies nowadays.
Yeah, we came off of Schumer's Batman and Robin. And then from there to X-Men, and it's like, this is an embarrassment. And then, wow, they're all wearing black leather. That's so awesome.
Yeah. It was Hugh Jackman and I don't even know the guy that Picard that plays Patrick Stewart. Those two right there sold X-Men for me. I'm like, wow.
And Femke Jensen and Halle Berry. I mean, holy shit.
Right? I mean, I think Famke Jensen's way underrated. People don't realize she's actually a legit actor besides starting out as a model and all that. Halle Berry, you don't even have to talk about her. You already know how Halle Berry's career speaks for itself and how great she is.
Except for Catwoman.
Well, everybody has a bad one.
Yeah, you can't make an omelet right.
Everybody has a bad movie.
That movie is still watchable.
Yeah, because you get to watch Halle Berry.
I like how Nick says watchable.
Watchable.
But no, somebody like but Logan I thought was a movie that got it really right. You finally saw the claws being claws. You finally saw the brutality of Wolverine in the Logan movie. Yeah. And the X-23, man, after that movie, I went and picked up all new Wolverine and trade. And that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't been introduced to her yet. So because I was in comics then at that time again.
Yeah.
And that little girl looked just like her too.
She did, and I wanted another movie with her in it as X-23, and I just wish we would have got it.
Right.
Logan was probably the best. It was the best X-Men movie, I think. Logan was so well done.
I don't know. I like X2, man.
X2 is great.
X2 is great. X3 horrible.
Nightcrawler in the beginning breaking into the White House. That was
amazing. And back then, it's like the second parts of the trilogies were always good, right? Because Spider-Man 2 was amazing.
Spider-Man 2 is fantastic.
Yep. And then you don't speak about 3. And then I think your franchise is the only one that had 3 great installments was Back to the Future. All 3 of those were fun.
Oh man, I love Robert Zemeckis. Period. Like Robert Zemeckis to me is Steven Spielberg 2.0, but never got the title, never got the look.
He never got enough respect. Amazing Stories was great too. Did you ever watch Amazing Stories?
Oh yeah, I love Amazing Stories.
I love that show.
Yeah. That was an awesome TV show. Yeah.
So what is it? I just finished Back to the Future 3 with my son yesterday. We're watching a show, Manifest, on Netflix now. It's also Robert Zemeckis. So what is it about that trilogy that hooked you in?
I'm a big fan of mentor and mentee relationships. You know, like Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san, Cup and Hot Rod.
Obi-Wan.
You know what I mean? Obi-Wan, yes. Obi-Wan and Luke. Yeah, absolutely. I love that kind of relationship. So Back to the Future, Doc and Marty. I mean, come on, man. That's like the ultimate mentor mentee kind of thing to me. Like, I know a lot of people say the other things we just mentioned, but for me, that's it. You know, that relationship they had is so endearing. You know what I mean? Part 2, when he's like, Marty, we got to go back to the future. He's like, what happened? He's like, it's your kids, Marty. We got to save your kids. He's like, what, do they become assholes or something?
Because that really is a true friendship dynamic, because they both pulled each other out of the fire, many times. So,
right.
Yeah, what I love about the movies is you can tell that they have a close bond right from the first few seconds. Like, it's so perfectly laid out. The fact that some man would build a speaker for a guitar, an amp that is as big as a tool shed, and then he comes in there, he takes his piddly guitar and turns it up to 10, it just blows out the speaker, and have no problem with it. You're good to go. Who builds that kind of amp for a kid anyway? That's true friendship.
Yeah, people give a lot of hate to the third one, and to be honest with you, I kind of did too when I was younger, only because the Western aesthetic never really sat good with me. I'm a sci-fi kind
Same
of guy,
here.
You know what I mean? So when they went to the Western part, I was like, but when I rewatched it, I mean, that has the best version of Biff. That Mad Dog Tannen, he's awesome.
Well, see, I was raised on ZZ Top, and so to see them twirl their acoustics, that was it for me.
Heck yeah.
And that's the reason why I didn't want to watch the third one is, my dad was a big Western guy. He loves them. He watches them. I never connected with Westerns. It was just for whatever reason they didn't do it for me.
Really? Not even Clint Eastwood?
Right?
No, well, Clint Eastwood's Clint Eastwood.
Right.
Well, he was in the third one.
Dude, Pale Rider, the outlaw Josie Wells.
Pale Rider was great. I'm just saying, there's always exceptions, Kenny. I don't, I don't really care for war movies, but I love Hamburger Hill.
Right.
What about John Wayne movies? You didn't grow up with John Wayne, Gary? Aren't you John Wayne's age?
Right? Oh.
Damn.
See, Fable, this is the ugly part of the show. I didn't want to have to introduce you to this, but sometimes you get a few bad seeds in the bunch.
Bang, bang, bang.
I thought he was going to behave, but, he's got new meds. I shipped him there yesterday, some happy pills. He could have chose the blue or the red. He probably mixed them.
He mixed them.
Well,
Yeah.
I get that on the mind because that Matrix Resolutions trailer. I'm ready for another Matrix. Are you a Matrix fan, Fable?
I was a big fan of the second one. I mean, the first one, because I felt the first one was so groundbreaking in so many ways. The other two were, while they were enjoyable, lost that quality. You know, they didn't have that like Inception type of deal going on.
Right.
It was more straightforward. The third one was a little left to interpretation, so it's a little artsy. But I still dig the universe, and I'm definitely ready to go back to the Matrix for sure.
Right. What about the John Wick universe? We're gonna stay on Keanu Reeves here in a second.
I just watched John Wick for the first time 2 weeks ago.
What? I'm
Now,
glad that you watched it. But what kept you waiting so long?
Dude, I haven't watched anything, man. This YouTube thing has taken over my life, bro.
Yeah.
What I watch is all of you guys. That's who I watch.
Oh, dude, and you want to talk about killer soundtracks? That first John Wick soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with Taylor. The first Bill and Ted is sleeps. I love Bill and Ted better than John Wick too. So
Well, how do you compare the two? Where does that compare?
Right, they're not comparable.
That's like comparing like Salisbury steak to meatloaf. Like they're both amazing, but they're like basically the same thing rearranged in different ways. Like Bill and Ted's is a classic. Like you can watch that movie any day of the week. John Wick is just all out, so much fun, and like watch the body count. Right? Great movies. Apples and oranges, both fruit, just amazing things. Keanu Reeves is just the best.
So you haven't watched the second or third one then yet?
No. Not yet.
oh, they're good.
But
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it now because I've been hearing this John Wick thing for years, right? It's like John Wick. And not that I was hating on it. I was like, I'll get to it. But I finally got to it. And I'm like, oh. Okay.
John Wick.
Yeah.
I got it.
That's the John Wick they've been talking about.
And it's cool too because they set up. It's not just an action movie; it's an action movie with a cool universe tied into it, with like the
Yes.
Continental and the whole, and just the whole.
A lot of world
thing.
building.
Right. But I gotta fight everybody on this. Is nobody gives enough love to Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Because that movie's amazing.
That's like a top 5 for me, bro. And
Death
it
feels
feels
every scene he's in. I love how Death has no confidence and he's always looking for approval. Don't overlook my part in this. He's always Death is such a great character with Bill and Ted. Like that whole dynamic works so well in that second movie.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I love? I love evil Bill and Ted, the two robots.
The robots.
Those guys when they threw Bill and Ted off of the mountain, and they're like, "We just totally killed ourselves, dude."
Right?
And then he started spitting on themselves, like, and they were like, "Yeah!" when the spit landed.
So, what did you guys all think of the new Bill and Ted? Just out of curiosity.
I like
I
it.
still have to see it. Actually, I haven't seen it yet.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's really good.
I couldn't finish it because Keanu's daughter, was so annoying to me.
Yeah.
I just could not pay attention.
It's one of those things that, you can tell that they're trying to pass the torch, but
They tried too hard.
Those dudes can't be Bill and Ted forever. You know, they do have to move on. It's a good movie. I won't watch it as much as I watched part 1.
Right.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of it. I thought they tried too hard, but it's hard to follow up Bill and Ted and then Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Yeah. Especially when you don't have Bill and Ted as the two main characters.
Well, it's because they're missing Rufus. That's the key part.
Yeah, Rufus is a big part.
God,
although Rufus was only in those movies for like 10 minutes, I think, or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He wasn't in much, but man, he had presence though.
Yeah, absolutely.
George Carlin.
If there's any movie that's synonymous with the PCP Army Bad Batch, it's absolutely Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. For sure, because that is where we get our whole motto and credence from. Station. Yeah,
It's my favorite Bill and Ted. I love to. So let's talk video games though, because obviously what's your favorite video game of all time? You got to have one with your video with how much you love them.
I mean, it changed throughout the years, right? Like it's been one or something throughout the years. One takes it over. I would guess my first favorite video game of all time would probably be Super Mario Brothers 3. Because Super Mario Brothers 3 was such a groundbreaking game. Like it was like the other Mario Brothers, but it was totally something else with all the
Raccoon
over map and the suits and everything. And then you flash forward a couple of years, and I got into Japanese role-playing games. I don't know if you guys are into any of that stuff.
Oh yeah, JRPGs.
Yeah, and I got into a game called Chrono Trigger, really heavy. And Chrono Trigger was like my favorite game for years and years and years until Metal Gear Solid came out.
Oh,
And when
nice.
Metal Gear Solid came out, I was like, this is the best thing ever made. This is like a movie video game. I can't believe what I'm playing here.
Metal Gear
and
was awesome.
ridiculous. And
is that the game
just
where like
recently-
the main character's like Snake Bliskin
Snake.
or something? Yeah, that's the one I keep
Oh,
hearing like people saying like Chris Evans would be a great like
Well, I
Gear
can't believe they
Metal
haven't
Gear
made a
Solid.
movie of that yet.
Yeah.
No.
It's probably Kojima though. He's got his vision. He doesn't want anybody to mess with it. You know?
Exactly. That's been his baby forever.
It is, but he doesn't own it anymore. It's owned by Konami.
Well, then it's definitely a possibility now.
Yeah, Kojima's no longer associated with that game. He left Konami and he had to leave the property behind.
Yeah. But most recently, Game overtook all those games as my favorite game of all time. And have you guys ever played The Witcher 3?
Wild
She is
Hunt.
playing The Witcher 3.
Yeah, The
I've
Witcher 3
put
Wild
in
Hunt.
163 hours at this point.
Bro, I beat
I
that game
love that
4
game.
times.
Love it.
And every time I play it, there's something I did in it that I never did in the last playthrough. I'm like, how big is this game? Jesus
Huge.
Christ. But
So did
I
you
fell
take-
in love with that character, man. Geralt.
Geralt
and the
of Rivia.
The TV show with Henry Cavill, which again was like, oh my God, yes, Henry Cavill.
It gets a
as-
lot of hate, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
I love
He
it.
makes a great Witcher.
Mm.
Not so good as Superman.
Well, we're
Um,
talking Superman here. Superman's not that great anyway.
He's just putting that in there so when Jimmy watches on the rewind, he has something to get mad about.
I see you, Slots. I see you.
See, I was a big Tomb Raider guy. I played Tomb Raider since it first came out. So I
Yep.
love Tomb Raider. I love all 3 movies that are out so far. I can't wait for the next movie. And man, she just killed it in the last Tomb Raider movie. It was so good, I thought. Like her as Tomb Raider.
So you prefer Vikander over Jolie?
Yep.
Yeah. Alicia
100%.
Vikander was way better. She was great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you played the new Tomb Raiders at all, Nick?
No, I haven't.
That's why
They're
you don't
good.
like her. If you've played those 3 games, dude, she nails Lara Croft. And those 3 games are amazing games.
I see what you did there, Slot. Nails, Lara Croft. I see it.
And our girl Hayley Atwell, Peggy Carter herself, just got cast as the voice of Lara Croft for the Netflix animated show.
Yes. Yeah. I thought they picked her to play her live action. I got really excited when I thought that. I was like, what? Yeah, heck yeah.
No, it's still Alicia. And if you want a good movie with her, Ex Machina is amazing if
Yeah,
you've
that
never
was-
seen that.
Her and Moon Knight. Lara Croft and Moon Knight in that movie.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that movie is so good.
Yeah.
Like there's a few movies you watch and you're not prepared for how good it's going to be. That was one of them for me. I just that and Annihilation was great too. I don't know if you guys ever saw Annihilation.
Not Mortal Kombat, right?
No.
That's what I
No,
thought he was talking about.
Me too.
No, with oh my gosh, she was in Leon the Professional. She was Padme.
Natalie
Portman.
Portman.
Yes.
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, really good movie.
Yeah, she's great.
We're getting off scope here. We're talking about all sorts of nerdy stuff.
Well, you have to.
Fable.
I know.
There's not too much Fable doesn't know about. We could talk about toys next, and he'll go off on that too.
That's right. You know what? I mean, this just turned into a blame Fable episode. This is all his fault now, anyway.
Gotta blame Fable.
Oh, man.
So, why the 3 games behind you, Fable?
Why not?
No, I mean, like, what's special about those 3 games for you? Did you grow up in the arcades?
Well, in New York, almost every little corner store had an arcade machine in it. So it was just like regular life stuff. But the only problem is that I was like 3 feet tall, and nobody would let me play the game, right? So all the older kids would crowd the machines. So I didn't get to play any of these games really too much in the arcade until they came home for Super Nintendo, right? Like all of these kind of came on Super Nintendo. But, you know, the Super Nintendo versions never were like the arcade, right? They were just like a little downgraded version. There was never the arcade experience.
It was the Sega version that you wanted.
Yeah, man. The Sega version.
Especially at Mortal Kombat, it had blood.
Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, when they came out with these things, these were some of my favorite arcade games that I never really got to play. Only at home. So when I saw that they were coming out with them, I was like, oh yeah, I am jumping on that immediately. And it's one of those things where you spend the money and you're like, what the hell did I just do? Like, you know, what did I just buy? And then you get it. And when you get it, I mean, you know, it worth every penny. And everybody that I know always comments on them. So I know that it was like a worthy purchase. You know what I mean?
Do you have to leave them on?
Oh, I said that's a rabbit hole I've been avoiding. I see those arcades and all these people's videos, and I'm like, man, I want those so bad.
Yeah. Slots, if you don't want to get into it, don't do it, brother, because you will want another one. I promise you that. I had only one, and I was like, now I got 3, and I'm thinking like, okay, they're coming out with a Killer Instinct one. I'm like,
oh,
it can't be at all like comic books, right? Like you can just buy 1 or 2 and be good to go for a while.
Depends on what comic book.
Name one thing that we collect that we can buy one of.
There's a thing.
But do you leave them on all the time, or do you have to like unplug them at nighttime? Because like this, like your room, like when you go to sleep at nighttime, do you like good night arcade games and turn them off, or they play all night long?
They got power buttons. No, they got power buttons. It's not totally exact or accurate. They do have a volume button. You could turn up the volume up and down. Arcade machines never had stuff like that. So, yeah, no, they have power buttons.
Cool.
Oh, I gotta agree with these guys. Dead Space is an incredible game.
The first one was good.
Oh yeah.
2 was good too.
Yeah, 2 was good too.
So what are you playing now aside from The Witcher, which is probably 5 years old at this point?
Oh, it's older than that.
Oh, yeah. It is.
It's like 10 years old now.
A series that I got into that I just discovered a few years ago. And it's actually an old series, but I kind of skipped it when it came out. But now it re-released and they redid it, remastered. Yakuza. Have you guys ever played Yakuza?
Yes.
Yakuza 0 is great. Like I would suggest everybody play Yakuza 0. If you've never heard of this game or whatever, I guarantee it's if you're into Chinese like Hong Kong cinema. Right? If you're into any of that scene, it's a gangster tale told in Japan. It's awesome.
Yeah. The second one's not so great, but the first one's really, really good.
Yeah. I love that series. I went and got all of them. Like I think there's like 7 of them. All great. Gary, I definitely suggest Yakuza 0.
That's one that I never got for some reason out of all, because there's some of the franchise games. Like the next one I'm really looking forward to is Ash versus the Evil Dead in February.
Oh man, yes.
Because I'm such a big fan of Evil Dead, and I love I just binge watched the 3 seasons again this last week and a half of Ash versus the Evil Dead. There's just not one episode of that that's not thoroughly enjoyable. It's just full of good old gore and camp.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the Evil Dead franchise. Army of Darkness. That movie is great, man. I love that movie.
That's what we call pillow talk, baby.
Do you think there's any way that Bruce does not show up in Spider-Man?
Bruce Campbell and Spider-Man.
Yeah, with
he'll show up.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna.
I hope so.
And he even narrated one. What was it? Spider-Man 2. He did all the instructional narrations.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that was a great game. Spider-Man.
Well,
2
isn't
game?
Raimi doing Multiverse of Madness?
Yes.
Yeah.
He will definitely be in that movie.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Well, it's fun too because Bruce Campbell even made the joke he was the only person to defeat Spider-Man in all 3 movies, guys. He always stopped Peter Parker from what he was trying to do.
Right.
So we got to see how he foils Doctor Strange in the new movie. I don't get. So Fable, being a Bruce Campbell fan, did you ever watch My Name Is Bruce?
No, I've never seen
No.
That. No.
That he's going someplace as himself, Bruce Campbell, for like this signing, but the town he goes to is actually being invaded by evil, and they think he's like a real hero, and then he's actually forced to fight evil, and he's trying to do is to hook up with the hot bartender. The movie is crazy funny and good.
Oh, so it's a movie. I thought it was like a documentary or something.
No, it's a movie. It's called My Name Is Bruce. It is a great fun watch. And it's Bruce Campbell poking fun at the person that people who don't know Bruce Campbell think he is. They think he's Ash, and it's so funny to watch him in interviews. What? No, that guy's a moron. Why would I want to be him?
I love
that. I follow him on Instagram. He's great. So there you go. I'll try Yakuza. You got to watch My Name Is Bruce.
Heck yeah. I'll track it down. I love Bruce Campbell, man. Love him.
Oh, and his biographies are great too. I have all 3 of those. The Chin. Oh, so good. Now, besides comics, are you a big reader too? Outside of comics, do you pick up novels? Like, did you read the original Witcher books as well because you like the games?
No, I can never really read books like that, to be honest with you. I just have a problem with them. I get to like 3 pages and I start falling asleep almost immediately. Like, it's not that I don't want to read the book. It's just I've tried so many times and almost every time it ends the same way. I guess I just don't have that kind of brain for that. I need the pretty pictures and stuff to go along with it.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
The only novels I've read is Interview with a Vampire. I've read Interview with a Vampire, The Vampire Lestat, and Queen of the Damned. I read those.
And Rice Band.
I enjoyed those.
And Rice is great. Yep.
Yeah.
And Rice is no. See, I was a Clive Barker guy. I started reading Clive Barker when I was 11. I read, Weave World, The Great and Secret Show, a Magica. A Magica is this 1,200-page novel, which is amazing. Just so much happens in this world. And if you like getting lost in worlds, Clive will lose you in a world with these intricate, detailed characters, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, one of my favorite horror movies of all time is Hellraiser, directed by him. So, I definitely feel you on that. I wish I could read those books. I'll be honest with you. If I tried, same thing will probably happen. But I love his film work. I love his characters.
Now,
what's your favorite horror movie? Just out of curiosity, is it Hellraiser?
Oh man, that's tough. That's a tough one.
Is that one that rotates too?
Michael Myers, huh?
I was just saying, is that one that rotates also? Your favorite horror movie? Does it always change?
Yeah. It's like, I love Halloween, right? Halloween.
Yeah, James Cameron.
John Carpenter.
No, James Cameron actually had a good bit of deal with the Halloween movie. That's how he met Jamie Lee Curtis through Halloween.
Oh, for True Lies?
Yeah.
Wow.
Check it out on Wiki.
Look at Kenny putting down the information.
Right.
But yeah, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, you're a slasher guy.
All those 80s. No, because I love Alien, man. I think Alien is one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
It is.
2001: A Space Odyssey. Some people don't like to consider that a horror movie. I think it is the quintessential horror movie. I think man fighting things that they think they could conquer, and then they open up a can of worms they're not ready for. Those kind of movies, existential.
Like getting married, you mean?
What I was talking about. Things
See,
like that.
now, if you haven't seen Annihilation Fable, it's kind of like that. And Annihilation's a great modern horror movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. There's another one that people keep telling me about. Oh man, I wish I could. Just came out too, not too long ago.
Talk about those Netflix ones, maybe.
No, I think it had a theater release. I think A Quiet Place. Is it A Quiet Place?
Yeah, quite well. Yeah, I didn't see the second one. The first one was good. I didn't think it was great, but it was a fun, enjoyable flick.
2 wasn't bad.
Yeah.
What kills me is like the names of these movies. Like, somebody comes up, it's like, all right, I've got an idea for a movie. The first thing we need somebody with a thesaurus. We need some synonyms. All right. What is an unused word for evil or horrible? And they're like, I don't know. We haven't used despicable yet. Let's use that. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's a great. We got an idea. It's a name of a baby doll,
Sinister.
but it's got to be spooky. What can it be? Let me get the synonym person. All right, have you used Annabelle yet? No, that's great. Let's use that one.
See, Fable still didn't say the best horror movie ever. I was hoping he was going to say it, but now I'm disappointed.
What?
I thought it was a comedy. The Thing's more of a comedy.
Yeah, John Carpenter's The Thing. It's my favorite.
Yeah, The Thing is amazing, man.
Yeah,
John Carpenter, period, is amazing. His films, one of his best films, I think, is Christine. Have you ever seen Christine?
Love Christine.
The book is great. The movie's good too.
Oh my God, Stephen
I
King.
was talking to
John
Jason
Carpenter.
about this. That's the one movie of his I've never seen.
Ooh.
Damn it, Gary.
I've
You
never
need to get
seen
on that.
Christine. It's the one John Carpenter flick I've never seen.
You know when they
But
talk
I
about
watched
John
it
Carpenter,
not because of it being a horror movie. I watched it because I'm a car guy, and I wanted to see that car. It's a beautiful
that
car.
was awesome. Yeah.
That
But
Plymouth
you know how they
Fury.
talk about his cinematography? John Carpenter has a great eye for cinematography. Christine is
He does.
probably like one of his best shot movies. Outside
Yes.
of
I gotta buy it and watch it.
It is fantastic, dude.
Because I think when we get off here, I think to fall asleep, I'm gonna put The Fog on tonight.
Ooh, good one. Christine also has an awesome soundtrack, like a 50s, like bebop music. Moon, blue moon. It has that kind of thing going on, but it makes you scared of the songs, right?
Oh,
Like,
it
those
distorts
songs are-
it some, huh?
Even the
I don't
way
know
it
how-
starts off
Yes.
in the factory.
Yeah. Heck yeah. It's got this 50s music, but it's scary. I can't describe it to you. It's not supposed to be that way, but it is.
So Gary said that he's gonna put on The Fog when he goes to sleep. So like when I put my 1-year-old to sleep, we have a white noise machine. It's like beach sounds, crickets, a lazy stream. I can just imagine Gary's like having buttons. It's like slasher film. You know?
Conan.
Ooh, tonight I'm gonna put on suspense thriller. You know.
Don't forget crickets on motorcycles.
Yeah.
I never said I was normal or sane, so.
Evil is throwing out some great movies here, man. Evil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Evil. Mike is a big Stephen King fan.
Yeah, Stephen King is.
Poltergeist. Woo! Love Poltergeist.
Have you guys seen Doctor Sleep? The second part of the.
Doctor Sleep was really, really good.
It was amazing.
I went into it going, all right, let's see how this is. When it ended, I was like, that was fucking great.
I could stare at Rebecca Ferguson 15 times in a row in that movie.
Dude, she looked amazing in that.
I gotta check it out, man. I haven't seen it yet.
It's the second part to
The Shining.
The Shining. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like Ewan McGregor. I know Ewan McGregor's in there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a well thought out horror movie. Like it plays, it sustains suspense throughout, and it keeps that level of suspense right through the whole flick. It's really good.
Right. Aren't those guys the same guys who made that are making Something Is Killing the Children? If I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's that same team that made that movie. I think they're making Something's Killing the Children.
Clockwork Orange. I remember watching that as a kid too.
Heck yeah, Clockwork Orange is crazy. It's a crazy movie.
Oh, I can't stand the Insidious movies. They're so boring.
Me neither.
You know what else bores me and everybody loves it? The Exorcist. My gosh, that movie bores me to tears.
The first movie.
Yeah, I don't know why people like it so much.
Oh man,
that
movie scared the absolute crap out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah, but when it came out, dude, like when that movie came out, like the language, just everything about that movie was like mind blowing. Like, no way, they didn't really say that, did they?
Yeah, when she was stabbing herself with that cross and saying all that stuff. Like my family is super Catholic, bro. So
you see, I'm not religious, so it didn't do anything to me.
Man, everybody was like, I cannot believe they let that. They filmed that. I can't believe they even filmed that. Like,
well, that was what, 78, 79?
Yep,
73.
Yeah, so I guess I was 9 years old when I saw it then.
And it was boring at 9.
Dude, it bored me. It bored me to tears.
It's like Gary's delivery room was like the friggin' like World War II, like right in the Battle of Bastogne, as he's being birthed. It's like,
oh, that movie just never did it. It was like that in The Omen. I'm like, why do people find these scary?
The Omen, I could understand. I could get with you with that one. The Omen was. I like it. I like it enough. But yeah, scary? No, not even a little.
And I even revisited them to see if it was just something I'm missing because I didn't understand it at the time because I was younger, and they still bored me as an adult. So I was like, all right, no, they just suck. to me personally.
No, I got you.
All right, so you said you haven't watched a lot lately, but now you're into comics. We have all these incredible superhero movies. What have you been watching lately that's superhero? You've been keeping up with the new shows like Titans and What If and WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier? Do you spend time with those shows at all?
No, I haven't actually. I went back and rewatched a lot of the MCU movies to prepare myself for that. So that's like the most recent stuff I watched. I just which one did I just finish? Not Age of Ultron, Civil War. I don't know. I like it enough, but I don't know. It didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I always hated how Captain America got robbed of his movies, but they totally figured out in phase 2, after you have the Avengers and then you go to solo movies, it's just not the same. I honestly think the only reason why Iron Man 3 made $1 billion is because it came directly off of Avengers. And so like the next movie you had after that is Thor 2, which everybody considers the most boring. Like it's only like just better than like Ed Norton's Hulk. And that's because I honestly think there's no interaction with anyone else. The next one after that, if it wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy, it was the next Captain America. And then you have all these other people coming in, and that's like, well, that's it. We have to chock all of these movies full of cameos. So then Chris Evans, all his movies wind up getting hijacked by all these other people, which makes them good, but it's not really a Captain America movie.
Well, I mean, I still think the apex of those that cinematic universe is Winter Soldier, which is a Cap movie.
Dude, those fight scenes in Winter Soldier.
Brilliant. Yeah, Winter Soldier gave me Heat vibes. You remember Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro? Those
and Val Kilmer.
Scenes, where they were where he was just shooting at Black Widow and shooting at freaking the middle broad daylight. I felt like I was watching Heat, and it was an MCU movie. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
I agree with Comic Journey. I think Ed Norton's Hulk is leaps and bounds better than Mark Ruffalo's.
No.
Oh no. No, I like that movie too, but
I think he does a better job as Bruce
Dude,
Banner.
I can't stand Ed Norton. He is such a piece of shit.
But Thor, how do you really feel, Kenny?
Fuck him. Fuck that motherfucker. He is an entitled piece of shit who thinks that he can come on to any movie that he does and take over. And I'm gonna rewrite the script. Like, nobody asked you to do that. You just come in and do your part. Here's your money. Read the lines and then recite them on film. That's your job, Ed Norton. Not to come in and rewrite the script. Oh, I have a problem with this. Fuck him. Bullshit. And so he tried to do that, and that Kevin Feige was like, no. Boom, you're gone. Mark Ruffalo is a team player. He's a damn good actor.
And he's got charisma as Bruce Banner.
Oh my God, I can't stand Ed Norton. I used to love him too. American History X.
One of the best movies of all time.
Fantastic.
Oh my God. Sorry, I got a little carried away there for a second. Please forgive me.
No, it's all good.
We all have,
gotta let it out.
We all have reasons for hating Ed Norton. Like when I found out that he was knocking Salma Hayek down, I was.
Oh, Salma Hayek, one of the all-time beauties. One of the all-time beauties.
Yeah.
I loved her in Fools Rush In too with Matthew Perry. I love Fools Rush In. It's such a fun movie.
From the moment I laid eyes on her in Desperado, that was my woman.
Heck yeah.
You just lost right there, Taylor, talking about Wisconsin. I mean, he's probably a Packers fan too. I mean, let's talk about the real team in the NFC, right? The Vikings. They're number 1 in that division, buddy, and they're 0-1.
So
are you a sports guy too, Fable? Or
I used to be really into the Knicks. I used to catch every Knicks game. I used to be really into the Yankees. As of late, and I haven't caught the last couple of seasons. When the thing happened with the NFL, I was kind of upset at the NFL too, with all that nonsense that was going on. But I plan to get back into it. I was a big wrestling fan too. I used to love WWE and all that stuff, and I haven't watched that stuff in a year or two. But I can't do this. I can't do all of it. Something's got to suffer.
It's true. Like as much as I love video games, when I started the YouTube channel, I went cold turkey on video games for like a year, easy. And I finally jumped back in the last 2 months ago. Finally got back in, but something's got to give when you're building something. I'm like, well, I'm not going to stop reading because I've read my whole life. I'm like, nothing's really coming out that's really calling to me in games. So games will take a back burner. If a new Tomb Raider comes out or a new Uncharted, all of a sudden I'll jump back in,
Yeah.
I need to play Uncharted. I've never played it.
Man.
Oh,
great.
epic storytelling. So amazing.
It's like the
I got a couple
version
of
of
questions.
Tomb Raider.
I've been sitting on some questions. So my first question, and I should have asked you this when I was on the Blame Fable show. I know that Fable isn't a real name. is that a name that you created yourself as just like a screen name, or is that something that was given to you?
Well, I used to be. I wanted to be an artist when I was a kid. I even went to art high school. I don't know if anybody ever heard of the High School of Art and Design in Manhattan. It's a pretty big art school. It's hard to get into. So I wanted to do comic books, right? I wanted to do, because that was right around the time X-Men, all that stuff we just talked about, Image Comics. I was in high school at that time. So I wanted to do that stuff. But I was also into street art. So me and a lot of our friends, we used to tag up all over our neighborhood, right? Just put our names up. And there was one kid, he used to write fast, right? Like fast, like I could do my pieces fast, but he put it with a PH. So I was like, oh man, that's an awesome tag, man. Fast, I like that. I was like, I want to use something like that. He was like, well, at first I was going to write Fable. And I was like, Fable. And he was like, yeah, man. Like a story that's passed down, like a legend and shit. And I'm like, wow, I really like that name. Yeah, Fable. And that was it, man. I was like 14 years old, 13 years old. And it was one of those things that once I started doing that, my regular name disappeared. It was just like everybody called me that. I mean, we're talking about 25 years of this. Like, so that is my name. Like, really, than my real name.
That's awesome. My other question, your thumbnail. You've got this look, but your head's like really shaved on the side, right?
Yeah.
And so now I can see your ponytail. How old is that picture? And is this just like COVID hair Fable?
What you don't see, the picture's only like 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
What you don't see is that my hair is braided at the top. And it's shaved on the sides. Over the last 2 years, I let the sides grow in, so now it caught up with the top. But if you look at that picture, I actually have cornrows going back.
So it's kind of like a blood sport thing. You ever whip your ponytail around?
Something like that. So, that's hard to maintain. So I just let it go crazy. Frank. Yeah, I like
Frank. You said you like wrestling. Do you watch wrestling now, like current wrestling? Do you like AEW or WWE?
I got out right when AEW started. I'm a, WWE fan since a little kid. Hulk Hogan was one of my biggest heroes growing up. Like, Hulk Hogan was like what everybody thinks John Cena is right now. That was my John Cena, Attitude Era was fantastic.
Were you like disappointed or hurt when like Hulk Hogan joined the NWO?
Oh yeah, heck yeah, man.
I was sad.
I was pissed off. But then it dawned on me, like, he's a genius. The man is a genius. He was not only the top face for so many years, and then he became the top heel. Who does that? Like, who in wrestling has ever achieved that? I mean, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the baddest man on the planet at that time.
Yeah, you would have to say too, he was like one of the first ones to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now everybody does it.
No, everybody does it exactly. Yeah, you guys remember the old cartoons? The old
yes,
WWE
the 80s
cartoons?
Oh yeah.
With Junkyard Dog and Iron Sheik and all the bad guys.
Captain Lou.
Yep.
Yeah, Captain Lou Albano, Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
What was that song they sang? Remember they did that song, that video that time?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the song name, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, that Cyndi Lauper was girl.
It's the one where they're at the construction site, right? Where they're all at the construction site and freaking Vince McMahon has a hard hat and they're all like singing or something like that.
I just remember that song getting played constantly when it first came out.
But yeah, man,
I think that's the only time I watched.
I used to watch it Saturday morning cartoons, and it was so awesome. And so, like, I remember when my daughter was born, she gets a little bit older, so it's like 2014. And so I'm telling my wife, hey, let's just sit her down and watch some Saturday morning cartoons. She's like, Saturday morning cartoons doesn't exist. I'm like, bullshit. Saturday morning cartoons has to still be a thing. They're like, no. So did some research. No, like they eliminated that stuff like years ago. And it's like, how did I not know that Saturday morning cartoons were like completely cut out? And then I was just so sad.
Dude, they don't even watch the cartoons that they have now. I don't know about your children, but my kid, he loves watching other kids play with toys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Or other
Right.
kids
That
play video
doesn't-
games.
Yes, that doesn't make any sort of sense to me. Like,
Me
No.
neither.
I
I'm
look
like,
And, like,
at
you
why
were
don't you
explaining-
play the game?
Yeah, you were explaining, Fable, how like you got into all of this because of Instagram. I only got into YouTube because my daughter was been like so freakishly obsessed with YouTube.
right.
And then watching other kids unbox stuff, play with stuff,
Yes.
it's just ridiculous.
What's that
Yeah,
one kid?
and I didn't want
Ryan?
to.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that kid's a millionaire. His parents bought him toys and filmed him opening. Now they're millionaires.
Ryan,
My
Ryan's world.
God, Ryan.
And I was scared to let my kid watch that stuff because the first thought in my mind was like, he's gonna ask me for all of this stuff.
Mm.
Well, I can't possibly buy this stuff. Now, luckily, he has it. He just enjoys watching it. But I still find it very strange. Like, I'm sorry,
Well,
no disrespect to anyone, but
it is. But this is like our generation. When you're growing up, it's like, oh, cable was the big thing. You know, if you had cable TV and you're watching this, with our children's generation, it's YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, this is the generation that grew up with the internet. They don't. If the internet goes down because of a storm, my kid has no idea how to entertain himself.
When I was a
Tell me
kid,
about it.
I had a cinder block and a piece of wood, and I was happy with my cinder block and piece of wood.
A stick. Kids don't
Yeah,
even
stick.
know what sticks are. I was watching
Right off the
George
floor.
Carlin stand-up comedy last night, and he was talking about a stick and sitting there digging a hole in the dirt.
Hey,
But you want to know something? We're all hypocrites too, because I was watching, you know, I like Transformers figures and stuff like that. So I was watching a guy review a Transformer figure, and my wife was like, "Oh, you're watching the same thing like the baby?" And I looked at her, and I was like, "Oh snap! Like,
Damn, you got
I
burned
am watching
hard.
this."
Oh man.
Well, it's amazing how YouTube's taken over, like as a watchable platform, because you know a lot of things have tried to compete with it, and it just they haven't.
No, well, just think it. I mean, whatever you're into, you can find stuff to watch.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't have to
Anything.
wait for. You don't have to wait for something to come on or wait for something that's presented to you. You can actively search what you want to watch. And Lord knows, you go down a rabbit hole. 9 hours later, you're still watching the same thing.
Dude, and
Right,
my
right.
kids don't get commercials. They don't understand commercials.
Yeah, my kid
Or
cries.
having
He's
to
like,
wait to watch
Daddy,
something.
commercial.
Why is the show not on, Dad? It's called a commercial, son. They used to have those back in the day to pay for the programming.
Oh, it's nuts, and they don't know how to wait for stuff now too, because you know you'd have to wait every week, and then once that season was over, well, you couldn't just watch that season again. That was gone. You had to catch reruns and then wait and hope your show got renewed and came back. And now everything's so great; it just comes out. You can watch all the episodes in one day if you want.
You
For the
just
most
click
part.
it. Yeah. Kids are spoiled nowadays. I don't know
Yeah,
about your
there we
kids.
go.
Like, my kid doesn't even want to
Enjoy your
drive
own
yet.
Park Club.
Yeah,
Enjoy your old fart club.
I completely agree. I thought all of a sudden we were cranky old men on Sunday nights all of a
On
sudden.
the Cranky Comic Chat, yeah.
That's right. Hidden Jim's probably over there. He's probably watching videos on another screen of people playing video games.
Well, you know what I used to like. We used to really watch YouTube is when my son was born, right? And we put on music videos like Jack Johnson or something. And if my kid was fussy or crying, I'd put on. It was a couple, right? We could play Jack Johnson, who was really mellow music. You watch that, and I would always put on Shakira, partly for me, but it put him to sleep too. But I play the music for him, and it settled him down, and he'd go to sleep in my arms, and it's a way to settle the kid. And then of course you start watching. You're watching instructional videos, and then you're watching music videos, and then it turns into what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's such an accessible thing, right? I mean, here we are, a bunch of like middle-aged dudes that found a hobby for something that didn't even exist when we were kids.
Yep.
Yeah. Now the biggest problem is finding a battery that lasts long enough. Like my phone starts dying, I'm like, darn it, it's dying. Shoot, why don't they make these things last longer?
Luckily, my phone charges in like 30 minutes. It'll get a full charge.
Well, they have charging. Like I go from my house to my car with the charging thing. You just you put on the little wireless charger. Like they have chargers and everything now. It's like it's hard for my phone to ever die.
Yeah, I don't know. I just got the supercharger. I have a Huawei, so it's an international phone. That thing is so nice. Oh, it charges quick. It's got the super one. So does anyone else in your house collect besides you, Fable? Or are you just the only collector in your house?
I'm the only collector I know in my immediate circle.
Your wife doesn't collect anything?
Nothing. No.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the only person who does this that I know of, besides all of my friends, of course. But yeah.
How does she feel about the weekly pull list?
She's really supportive, actually. She's really supportive. I mean, she sees the joy it brings me. She doesn't want to. She, if I'm happy, they say happy life, happy wife, happy life. I guess it works both ways. She sees that I'm real happy about it, so that makes her happy. Of course, I could spend less. I mean,
everybody could that is into collecting stuff,
Yeah.
And everybody has their own thing that they spend on, so it's not exclusive to collectors. I'm sure your wife has her own things that she likes, that she gets, and it's just...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's big into the makeup. The makeup, woo!
Well, and that's the thing, too, right? Like, you work so much and you work so hard, you got to have something to enjoy in life. You just have to. Otherwise, what's the purpose?
My wife specs on... makeup palettes and things like that. She's like, this one has a weird mirror in it. It's so cool. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
Now you got to get your wife making makeup videos on YouTube. Those things do huge.
I'm trying.
Dude, my wife sells Rodent Fields. Ain't no joke.
So, all right, we've actually, I think you've been on the longest out of all our guest Fable. So we've been talking for an hour and a half.
Blame Fable.
Holy smoke.
So we'll get to our last questions here, because then I actually got to go to sleep because I have to work early.
Yeah.
But it's tough, right? I mean, Jason will probably get up around noon, but the rest of us will be working.
Jason actually gets up early. Jason actually gets up at the crack of dawn. Jason just doesn't do much when he gets up. I get up early
to watch all of you work. Gotta pick on Jason a little. But I guess my last question would be, and it's just a stupid fun one. If you could guest star in any movie franchise, what would it be?
Star Trek, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love that. Like,
be a red shirt?
No, I wouldn't be a red shirt. But I've always would, like, in an ideal future, I would love to work on the Enterprise. Like, I'd love to be in the forefront, the frontier of the galaxy, seeing the things for the first time, being the first one to experience these things, man. Hanging out on a ship with a bunch of cool people. What he said?
Oh, he said Gary's got to watch some gentle slasher porn before bed.
But yeah, if I could be on anything, I'd probably be on Star Trek, man.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kenny?
Okay. If you were to make a box of Kraft mac and cheese, do you follow the instructions or you just go for it?
Oh, I follow the instructions, man. I follow the instructions. I want to eat it. Like, I want to taste it. I want it to taste good. If I just go for it, I'd probably just waste it.
Now, I've met some crazy people that they do like half noodles, double sauce. Some people, because like, I know it's crazy, but we got into a conversation on one of my kids' birthday parties. And so they were talking about like, oh, we only use half the noodles, so it's double sauce. And then somebody else was like, well, we put in extra butter. And I'm like, sweet Jesus. So it's just the first thing that popped in my mind. But it's nice to know that you're a rule follower, Fable.
Right?
Except for when tagging buildings. That's probably not legal, though, right?
Here's one acting out.
Yeah. I used to tag buildings as a kid, but now I follow the instructions on my Kraft mac and cheese.
Oh, man. Young me would look at old me so disappointed. He'd be like, really? Arcade machines?
I think all our young outses.
It's once you have kids, Fable, they turn you gentle.
Yeah.
Kids,
They turn
kids
us
make you gentle. Nick?
First of all, it's quarter cup of milk, 1 tablespoon of butter. I prefer it on the buttery side, so I add a little bit more. So that's how you make it.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that.
Then add ketchup.
Ugh.
No.
So,
I forgot about that conversation.
Fried spam in the mac and cheese makes it the best.
no, can I get to my question, please? So in all of your artistic endeavors, all right, which is your favorite superhero character to draw? And has there ever been an original Fable character that you've created?
Ooh, good one.
That's a good question. My favorite soup. Do the Ninja Turtles count?
Sure.
Ninja Turtles. Absolutely. I used to draw those things so much. So much. I can draw a Ninja Turtle without looking at it. You know what I mean? That's how many times I used to draw it. And as far as original characters, no. I've never created anything really. I've always kind of just aspired to like get the technique down, but I've never really tried to create a universe or any of that stuff that a lot of artists do, to be honest with you. I mean, I created characters when I do my little graffiti pieces. You know how you always have a little character doing something, but I never named it or anything like that. So no, not really.
So you studied the technique a long time, and that's how you beat Bob Floss on Lame of Frame. No, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, Nick, love you, brother.
I know. I'm glad I never had to go up against you in Lame Frame.
Me and Gary have always been on that show just for like easy prey.
Right.
They always put us up against like the best drawers. Like, here you go. Good luck.
And then it gets to that part of the show where they give you the pity vote for one round. Oh,
Yes.
just give them one. Here.
I mean,
They're
I
gonna
remember when I
cry.
went on
Look
that
at
show. I was so nervous. Because, I know how to draw pretty good, but I thought that everybody was going to be an artist, and I was really rusty and stuff. I was like, oh man, they're going to kill me. And then when I started winning the rounds and stuff like that, I was just so in shock. Oh man.
Well, you could draw something good, like a beefy amount of drawing in a short amount of time, and it's detailed, which is amazing.
Yeah. That comes from the graffiti thing, man. I don't really pencil. a lot of things. I do everything with permanent marker or permanent pen, and I sketch like that. So that just comes from that.
That's that. Hurry up before the cops come.
Hurry up and get that permanent shit on the wall quick.
And being PH fast.
Slot?
So you said you would love to be in Star Trek. So are you a Captain Kirk guy or a Picard guy? Who do you like better?
Question, man. Oh man, that's a great question.
He likes the Quantum Leap guy as the captain.
Oh,
Scott Bakula.
Yes, Scott Bakula.
I'm gonna say Picard. I have a respect for Kirk because Kirk is so, he don't follow the rules. He has his own thing, but he's a little juvenile. Whereas Picard, he thinks of everything and he thinks of everyone. And if I want to be
he's a
like
strategist.
yep.
yeah, if I wanted to be like somebody, it would probably be Picard.
Good choice. And I had one more question I have to ask. I forgot all about it. Your name's Fable. Have you ever played the game Fable?
Yes, love that game, man. I love RPGs, period, role-playing games.
Nice.
That's my jam.
They just redid it. They just released it, remastered it again. I think I'm going to go ahead and play it again. That game was
it's only on
groundbreaking.
Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can buy it on Steam as well for us
okay.
PC people. So damn PC people. God.
I got one more thing to say, and it is Fable related. My father-in-law used to be in the band called the Fables from Annandale, Virginia. And Mark Hamill used to go to school at Annandale High School. And so my father-in-law remembers playing the drums at a show. The band was the Fables, and Mark Hamill used to come to see him and dance in the crowd.
Wow.
So pretty cool stuff.
Definitely. All right, so Fable, how we end this now is we'll start at the bottom. We'll work our way up with Slot, Nick, Kenny. We'll say our goodbyes, and then our guest gets to lead us out, sir.
Okay.
So, Jason, what you got?
Slot it up, everybody. I don't have a whole lot of anything, but yeah, I got some videos coming.
Nick?
Yep. Well, I'm looking for guests for the pull list anytime in the middle of the day and during the day, in the morning, Monday through Friday. And as I said earlier, if you guys want to come hang out, join the stream. We'd love to hang out with you and find out what you're all about too. So come on.
Thank you.
All right. Well, tomorrow I've got Friday Fun with Capstone Comics, where you get the chance to name that song. This Saturday, I'll be debuting a new video, and that's me unboxing a massive Ninja Turtles collection, like the Playmates Ninja Turtle collection from like 89 to 91. Newest characters like Baxter Stockman, but it's mostly like the OG, like original ones released. So it's a very fun and exciting opening. And then after that, I'm going to be on Hoarder's Hide. That's going to be live on the 18th. That's at 9 o'clock. And then the week after that, I'm going to be on Rob's Fat Stack Comics Slab Hub, and that's on September 25th. And that'll be at like 2:30 Eastern. After that, yeah. So other than that, like, I'll see you around.
So while your kids are watching the unboxing on YouTube, come watch Kenny on YouTube unbox.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's it.
All right, I got my normal Savage Saturday comic review coming up. I'll have more Sunday shout-outs, building the community, hopefully, and getting more people some subs and getting us more subs as well. But that's about it. Fable, it was an absolute honor and pleasure to have you on the show. I want to say thank you for agreeing to come on. I was super excited that you agreed to it. So thank you, station sir. And say goodbye, lead your plugs, do what you got to do. The floor is yours, sir.
You could catch me every Wednesday on Instagram Live at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. I do a show where we talk about a few subjects, and then we go into showing all the stuff we got within the last, from the last new comic book day to the current comic book day. I usually try to have a guest. It's kind of hard to have a guest because 1:30, 1:30, most people are working, but we get some guests on there. And that's part of this whole thing that the Bad Batch does called Whiplash Wednesday. That includes my brothers Jamaro Cinema, Big Herm, Nick Comic Culture, Missing Link Comics, Jamaro Cinema, and recently we just added Brandon Comics Kings, who's been absolutely killing it with the interviews. He just interviewed Ram V, which was amazing. So yeah, come check the Bad Batch out every Wednesday, man. We're trying to put it out there, and hopefully you follow me on Instagram, where you might like my stuff, but your wallet will hate my stuff. So as always, like right. And like I always like to say, to quote a great movie that we all love, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. Station.
Except for Comic Journey, fuck him.
And Ed Norton.
Him and Ed Norton.
Have a good one, guys. Keep it casual. All right. Awkward ending.